How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Nice.
Where are you calling us from today?
I am based in Haringey in North London.
Oh, very nice. What's it like there? Have you been to the pubs yet?
I have been a couple of times. I
Yeah.
haven't actually been drinking though since January, so
Yeah.
it's been quite. Still been nice to get a pint, but it's been a non-alcoholic pint.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't drink either, so I've just been there with my friends, just like looking after them all, just like my cracker juice or something in the beer garden.
But yeah, no, it is nice though. It's especially because the weather's been so nice the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah. So how has the past year treated you then?
It's a lot of ups and downs, I think, like
Yeah.
everyone. I sort of initially, the first part of the initial lockdown, I felt very productive. The album that I'm going to release later this year is the first that I've produced, written and played everything entirely myself on it.
Yeah.
And I think that the sort of circumstances of the world are a catalyst for that, really. It's something I thought about doing previously, but finally seemed like the right time to go ahead with it. So that was great. And then obviously towards the end of last year and the increase in the rate of infection and obviously the deaths and everything. And then I think post Christmas, like January, February time, I found it really tough. I think it was just the worst of it for me, I would say.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're coming out the other side.
Yeah. And so with the new single, In the Dark Times, can you tell us a little bit about the story behind that one?
Yeah, it's the whole record. I can't tell you the name of it yet, but the majority of it was written before any of this happened.
Yeah.
And it's like spookily lined up with a lot of the events that have unfolded. And in the dark times is a case in point of that. It's actually it uses an interpolation of a poem from 1938 by Bertolt Brecht, which the verse of the song "In the Dark Times, will there still be singing? Yes, there will be singing about the dark times." That's more or less the poem.
Yeah.
And I sort of discovered that through a British director called Jonathan Glazer, when he was being interviewed about his short film that came out in 2019, The Fall. And that verse became like a mantra for him when he was making that film. And it really connected with me, and it was just one of those poems that you can place it at any point throughout human history and it still feels relevant. And I just kind of started singing a melody to it. It was very easy. I had like a chord progression that I'd been messing around with, and then I was just like, I wonder if that poem would work. And it did. And then obviously the rest of the song kind of just developed around that. But it's the first time that I've ever used someone else's words in a song before.
Yeah. Well. What's the response been like so far for the song?
Amazing. Like, really, I was quite apprehensive about releasing it. I think because it is the first thing I've done that's all me, and I'm still very much learning as a producer, that I think it sounds great, but I was sort of slightly self-conscious of the fact that people might compare it to previous work and be like, well, that doesn't sound as good or whatever. But thankfully, people seem to be enjoying it. And yeah, it's done. I mean, if we're getting corporate about it, it's done like way better than I thought it would in the initial in terms of streaming figures and stuff. So yeah, it's been really nice. I think especially because I've been sat on this material for so long now.
Yeah.
That it was getting to a point where you sort of start overthinking everything and questioning your value as an artist and all that sort of stuff. And to get it out and have like a really warm response has been great for my mental health, I think.
Yeah. I really love the music video for it as well. Very intriguing. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit how you come up with the concept for it?
Yeah, well, the other major influence on this album, well, there's a few, but the main sonic influence is this artist called Sparklehorse, who unfortunately is no longer with us. It's a guy called Mark Linkus. It was his project. And I got into Sparklehorse when I was, well, probably about 10 years ago or something, maybe a bit longer. But it never really felt relevant to what I was doing musically.
Yeah.
Even though I loved it. And then there was one specific record, It's a Wonderful Life, it's called, that I connected with when I was a teenager. And then I never listened to anything else because at the time when I heard it, Spotify wasn't a thing. So I guess that one CD I just played over and over and over again. And then went back to him early last year and listened to the kind of whole catalogue. And the first couple of albums were like a lot more lo-fi and raw than the album that I'd heard. And then I just kind of went down this complete wormhole of borderline being obsessed with Sparklehorse. Found this website that like chronicles his whole career and has loads of interviews and stuff. And when I started reading about the way that he recorded the first couple of records, it just made it feel like very achievable. Like he wasn't using particularly expensive equipment or and had a very DIY hands-on approach and was very new to it himself and made decisions that maybe you wouldn't make as a more experienced producer. And I just find that like really inspiring. So I actually bought like a couple of the old keyboards that he used, and then cobbled together the equipment that I already had and decided like that's how I'm going to make the record.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like spend any more money. I'm just going to do it the way that I can. And then and the music now sounds completely different to Sparklehorse, but it was very much like the driving inspiration that led me to making it. So I thought that I'd like give a nod to that in the video. So it's based on a video by him called Hammer and the Cramps, which is like a very unknown music video. But again, it's like literally the record label he was with probably gave him like 500 quid and he's just gone and bought stupid masks and fireworks and like made it in the field around the back of his house. So I just kind of had the same philosophy where I bought like similar masks, like some slightly different ones, and then just wrote a similar narrative as that video, but placed it in my world, in my studio, in my part of the world. So it's like a homage to him really, but then like updated so that it's in the world of Vant.
Yeah. And does the rest of the upcoming album follow the same sort of narrative as In the Dark Times with those influences and that?
Yes and no. It's sonically it's in the same world, but I kind of stretch the sonics as much as I can. So there's some of the heaviest stuff that I've ever written on there, some of the most experimental stuff, and like way more kind of lo-fi space cowboy type ballads as well. So it's like a real mix of things. And then narratively it's God, I mean, I don't even know if I want to go down this wormhole, but I've started it now. But I basically went down a kind of YouTube wormhole when I was making it and came across this 16th century form of Italian theatre called Commedia dell'arte, which it's like it predates Shakespeare, but was like one of the earliest forms of like satirical comedy. So they used to have like these different characters within it. The characters would always be the same. So when the actors played them, people would know what the character role was, but then they would adapt it to the time. So it might be like taking the piss out of like certain politicians or cultural figures, whether that's like, lords or people with huge estates or whatever it was. So they used this sort of recurrent joke, but then just changed the people within it.
Yeah.
So the way that that's structured is it has like right down from like the poorest servant in the world, which is the character's called Zani, like up to like Magnifico, which is like the great overbearing leader. And then you have like loads of characters in between, like a spiritual character, like a sort of set of like romantic young couple, like all of these different roles. And I just kind of had this weird idea that I was like, well, what if I use this as the basis of like making a record? So like each of the songs is kind of representative of a character, or informed by the behaviors of these characters, or like the type, or like placing myself within different parts of my life where I may have been related to those characters. So it's not a concept album, but there's like a vague thread running through it that's kind of driven by this weird form of 16th century Italian theatre. So yeah, it's quite odd, but I think it's, it's still kind of everything that people might expect from my previous work. It's still got a sort of element of social commentary, and it's just a lot more philosophical, I would say, than previous stuff.
And what's the track that you're most excited for us to hear that we haven't heard yet from the album?
Oh, I don't know if I can reveal any names of songs
yet. Okay.
But there's lots coming though.
Yes.
I know I've just put in the Dark Times out, but it's going to be quite a consistent rollout. So yeah, can't give away anything at the minute, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited to show people that's coming soon.
Yeah. So which character is in the Dark Times related to, if it's to one specific character?
I can't actually remember. Like it was like, it's honestly, it's like it was a tool rather than it being like specific. So they do slot, like initially the album was sequenced in the order of the characters as they appear in that art form. But then I've completely like ripped it apart and moved it around. So it's like now I can't remember. There's like one track which is the title of the track is the same as the character.
I see.
But other than that, it's like I can't remember.
And what else have you got planned for the year? Can we expect to see you on tour at all?
I hope so. I think I know there's a lot of people announcing shows and stuff at the minute, but I just kind of don't want to be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that band that's like, there was 300 cases of coronavirus found at Vant gig. But also I just think like, I want to see what other people's experiences are first. Because I want to be able to know that I can play to audiences in the way that I want to play to audiences. Like I want it to be sweaty and intimate, and people not be afraid of like jumping around and having a good time. So I'm just I'm calculating it at the minute. I think it's probably going to be like maybe next year, I think, before I do any shows. But other than that, I think I'm just writing. I'm just using the time to write. I want to like kind of get another album together by the time this one's come out, so that I can just keep releasing music and keep just putting things into the world. I think it's that's probably the case with a lot of artists now. As you know, like you can't, when you do tour, it obviously takes away from time that you can be creative. So my main thing is that I want to take advantage of that, so that when I can tour safely, I'm able to commit to that for a long period as well. Because once we can go out and play again, I just want to be on the road for the whole of 2022 basically.
Yeah. And what are you the most excited to do once we are allowed to be out in the world again?
I think I am really looking forward to going to shows again, like not just playing them, but going to watch other bands. And I just feel like everything, really. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people, but I definitely have taken things for granted, I think, in the last few years. And, I'd be someone that would shy away from parties or like social gatherings or whatever. And I think now that we've experienced what life is like without those things, I just want to fully embrace every opportunity that I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like I really want to be in a mosh pit. Like I never thought that I'd ever want to be in a mosh pit again. But that's definitely an ambition of mine. I just want to go to some like really heavy band that I really love and just lose myself.
And I got the listeners to send in a couple of questions for you as well. So I got one from Abby, and she said, who or what inspires you to create music?
Well, Sparkle Horse, as I mentioned. The other references on this album were King Cruel and Metronomy as well, which like the record is way more like rock oriented than those artists, but I definitely have taken a lot of things from their sonic palette to use. But yeah, I mean, I think in general, I find like artists that write and produce things themselves in isolation really appealing. So like, Joe Mount from Metronomy and Archie Marshall, who is from Cruel, they both tend to be very like selective and involved in the music that they write and produce. So, and I think both of them, and Sparkle Horse included, have made me realize that it's okay to be not amazing at the start. Like the most important thing is the music, it's the songs that you write in, and I have belief in myself as a songwriter. So even though this album is maybe not exactly where I want to be in terms of the level of production, I still love it, and I think the songs still come across really well, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, I guess other artists that work the way that I work.
Yeah. And I've got one from Des, and he says, what's your favourite TV show at the moment?
Ooh. Well, I've watched a lot of TV, so there's a lot to draw from. Me and my partner have been getting into Scandinavian cop dramas.
Oh, yeah.
We've watched The Bridge, which is really good. Sort of a bit silly, but good. Which is, for the listeners, if you haven't seen it, it's based between Stockholm and Oslo. They find a body halfway between Stockholm and Oslo, and both sides of the forces of Norway and Sweden have to kind of navigate this case. And that's on the iPlayer, and also on the iPlayer there's another Scandi documentary called The Investigation, which I really liked, which was a lot more real, like a lot more realism involved in it. It wasn't as silly as The Bridge, but it's like about a real case of a journalist that went missing on a submarine. Yeah, they're both good. I won't say too much about them because I'll spoil them.
Yeah, they sound pretty good. I'm gonna have to add them to my list. I think I've like used up all of the shows like on Netflix and that so far. So I have stuff to watch.
I'm wearing thin now, I've got to be honest. You need to start releasing some new stuff.
Yeah, have you been watching Line of Duty?
I haven't yet. I've been told it's good, but I haven't clicked play on that yet. Oh,
okay. It is. Once you get into it, you'll be there for weeks. You just have to watch it all at once.
Yeah, I think that might be the next thing we watch.
Yeah. And Alison wants to know, if you weren't making music, what else would you be doing?
Probably filmmaking, I would say. It's I do want. I've written and directed quite a lot of my own music videos, and I'm always like scribbling ideas for films that I'll never make down on a piece of paper. But I do kind of hope one day that I will be able to kind of pursue that a little bit further and take a break from music at the right time and make some films.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I wasn't doing music full time, I'd probably be like head first into that by now.
And I have a little bit of a quick fire round for you as well.
Oh, I like a quick fire round.
Okay, so favourite album?
Oh God, it's not going to be that quick. If it is, I'm going to say for this moment in time, Good Morning Spider, Sparkle Horse.
And dream collaboration?
James Murphy.
Which of your own songs is your favourite?
Of the ones that have been released into the world, probably Exoskeleton.
Yeah. Most embarrassing moment on stage?
I once had a pair of jeans that were so tight that I couldn't bend my legs. I tried to stand on the drum kit and just kind of really comically slowly tilted and fell over. That was pretty embarrassing. I'm sure there's some others, but that's the one that springs to mind.
What was the first song you learnt to play?
Buck Rogers by Feeder.
Your favourite track of 2021?
I really like Pistol Whip by Spill Tab.
Oh, I haven't listened to that. I'll have to give that a go. That's
really good.
What's one message you'd like to give to your fans?
Share my shit, please.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I can't say that on the radio. Share my music, please.
Yeah.
I need to beat the algorithm lords.
What do you order from Greg's?
Vegan sausage roll.
Oh, I tried my first one the other week. They were so good.
I mean, why do you need to eat meat if it tastes like that? It's
you
pretty
don't.
much hygienic,
So
isn't
good.
it?
I actually went in for a normal sausage roll and they didn't have any, so the lady gave me a vegan one for free, and now I just love them even more.
You got one for free?
Yeah,
I'm going to try that next time. There's no meat sausage roll. I really fancy the sausage roll.
Yeah. What's your favourite and least favourite part about being a musician?
My favourite part is playing live. Pretty obvious, but definitely I was born to be on stage, darling. And my least favourite part is the ridiculously low rate of the undervaluing of the artist.
Yeah.
I think in general, the fact that we, don't get paid what we should for what we do, and how hard that can be just to survive.
And would you like to request a song for us to play on the show?
Yes, I would. I think you should play the song I said, Pistol Whip by Spill Tab.
Spill Tab, we'll get that on for you. And finally, you just want to do a little plug and let people know where they can find you and hear your music.
Cool. Oh, you mean I do one?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mattie Vant, and you can find my music on the internet at various locations under the @ We Are Vant, or on my website wearevant.co.uk.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.